Welcome to today's edition of HM Car Reviews. Today we have this Hyundai I30. Sadly, it's not the N variant, it's the basic one, but we're going to go check it out and see what it's like anyway. So we're going to check out the exterior of this vehicle, have a look around it, make sure it looks all okay. But what we're actually thinking of, or what I'm rather thinking of, is how similar it is to other cars on the road. I can see the proportions of the Ford Focus in it. I can also see the A-Class Mercedes. Loads of different vehicles taking inspiration on it. I think it looks fantastic actually. It takes sort of like the greatest hits of a couple of other vehicles, puts them all into one and makes it all pretty tidy looking. I think the Hyundai I30 is much better than their Kia equivalent. We're finding ourselves at the very front of the vehicle. We're going to look at the grille in a sec, but the bit that I mostly wanted to check out was the lights. The lights have these LED running lights going down this side here, but it's also replicated for symmetry just on the other side as well. Now we're actually looked at the lights, let's take a little look at the grille. This meshy bit here, there's about this much distance between the very front of the vehicle until the radiator. That's a safety feature. That's if you run over a pedestrian, they've got a little bit of cushioning. Every car has it. But the grille sucks in the air in this top bit here. We will open up the bonnet and have a look under there, see what the engine looks like. So we open up the bonnet now. We'll shut this door so we don't need it. But if we go over to this side and open up the bonnet like that, get this all clipped in, we can see the size of the engine. It's not particularly huge. As tested, we got a 1.4 litre turbo. It has 140 horsepower and 240 newton meters of torque. That is a lot of torque for an engine of that size. It's why it pulls away so well. You can get a 1 litre engine with 120 horsepower and 170 newton meters of torque. Alternatively, a 1.6 diesel with 115 horsepower and 280 newton meters of torque. If it were me buying, I'd go for the 1.4 turbo, the one I tested. We'll take a look at the alloy wheels. We can see it's got 10 spokes from where the alloy wheel starts and the edge of the tyre. That is pretty good for comfort. You're driving along the roads, you think your suspension absorbs all of the travel, but actually most people are wrong in that thinking. The tyre does a lot of the work. Even if we take a look at the rear lights, we can see some inspiration in the 1 Series BMW. That's not at all that surprising if you think about in the N version of this, the person who is head of N Motorsports at Hyundai used to be head of M Sport at BMW. So you can see exactly where they got the inspiration from. And his influences even goes down to the actual driving of the vehicle. Less so in this particular one, more so in the N version, but even still the suspension would have been tuned in some way as well. If we stick with the back of the vehicle, particularly with the boot, let's just open it up and see what we've got. So if I open it up, you've got quite a decent amount of luggage space here, and underneath we open up that as well, you've got your spare tyre. Typically Hyundai keep you with a spare tyre and don't give you an inflation kit. It's usually one or the other. In the back of the Hyundai I30 you also got this 12-volt plug socket, so you can put electrical items on there and charge them up off of the car battery. If we take a look just under the Hyundai badge, we can see a reversing camera, which is always fantastic. I like reversing cameras. I think they're brilliant. They make parking so much easier. So it's good to be able to see one on a car like this. Let's go take a look in the back seats and see what we got hidden down there. There's not really a great deal back here. The seats are comfortable enough. You've got a little pocket storage area and a place to put your drinks. You've got electric windows, which is always pretty fantastic. You don't have air conditioning in the back. That's only reserved for the front passengers, mainly the driver and his front passenger. What else do you have? You got more cup holders actually. You got cup holders in the middle. Nowhere to store anything though. It's okay back here. The biggest positive I have is it's actually really comfortable. Although it's the same system as in the Ioniq, it's worthwhile having a look over again as well. I found that the navigation to be really simple to use. So if you put in destination and an address, you can enter the postcode that you're in. Somebody's already been to Northampton where we're currently filming. Radio is pretty easy to use as well. You can put all of your selections, your whole list is here, so you can choose anything you want that's currently on DAB as well. Click on media, you can always add your telephone, which is quite handy. We click on settings and have a look to see if there's anything on there that that is unusual. No screensaver, you don't really need a screensaver. Choose what you want, choose the time, choose nothing, choose a normal old school clock. Your choices are really yours. So like almost every other car, you can play around with the mirrors, all in the same sort of location, all done in the same place in almost every car. So they're all adjustable, do absolutely everything there. You can also play with the rear windows here and the front windows, of course, on both sides. Whether or not you want to do that is entirely optional, but you know, you can do that. You can also fiddle about with the light settings, how bright it is and how the level of them as well. You also turn the traction control off down here, which is always good fun. Don't really need it most of the time, but some cars you definitely do. So we have a look at the actual steering wheel itself. We got our horn, beeps like that, absolutely fine. You've got your two telephone things there. You can also put the volume up. The one here adjusts the stereo to what station you're listening to. And then over on the other side, if you were to click on mode and then down whilst travelling along, it will engage this cruise control for you. I did mention it does have a reversing camera, so let's check it out and see what it's like. There we are. One thing that's great is as you move the wheel, it moves along with you, so you get a better sense of direction as to where you're actually reversing into. That always helps, especially when parking as well. One thing that's really great for driver convenience is the fact that you can charge your phone whilst on the move. So you pull it down there and it starts to charge for you. Wireless charging is really fantastic. It means that you don't have to take one of those wires with you. You can Bluetooth your phone onto it. Just makes life a lot easier. If you were to take a USB charger, you can. You've got your USB slot here, your auxiliary slot here, and two 12-volt car chargers if you wanted to charge something else as well. You got a couple of extra options for you. Whilst it's not the greatest looking interior in the world, it's pretty functional. There's one or two little bits I find a little bit annoying. Is the fact that the screen's not angled towards the driver like I think it probably should be. It's too flat, so it's too easy for the passenger to fiddle about with. That's incredibly annoying. But it's not the greatest looking interior. The plastics are, they're cheap, but they're functionable. They suit a purpose, they do a job, and they do the job pretty well. What other little bits have you got in here? You got your sunglasses holder, or glasses holder, whatever you want to do with that. We can use that to show exactly what it's for, like that. You've got various lights that will come on. You've even got your mirror there. You've got a light up here. It suits a purpose. It's not that great looking of an interior, but you know what? For the price point, you can't really complain. Looking by the sides of the daylight running lights, you can see where the air gets channeled through and gets sent all the way to the back. That improves handling. It's far more pronounced on the N version, but you still get it on the basic as well. So we're finding ourselves in the front seat, so we've been sat in for a little while. We'll go for a drive and see what it's actually like. So we'll move forward. We are in Northampton, and it's the British Grand Prix this weekend. I'm a little bit gutted I can't go to it. Ticket prices are quite expensive. Now we'll start driving along and see what it actually is like. We're not driving in particularly speedy roads. There's just a generic business park in Northampton. but we were driving along anyway. I did mention that the vehicle, well, at least with the Hyundai I30N, that vehicle is partly developed with the former head of M Division at BMW. So with that in mind, he knows a thing or two about tuning the vehicle. So he's tuned the N version to be sporty and pretty powerful and pretty fast. Whilst this isn't the sporty version of it, some of that knowledge and experience will have trickled down into the vehicle itself. So we're taking a drive. I'm actually going to see what it's actually, not entirely what it's capable of, but a little bit more power, and see what we can do. I like the handling of this car. I did say that it was helped by the guy from BMW, but there's other little bits that just make it a bit easier as well, that you can heel and toe downshift really quite easily, which makes, you know, when you're slowing down, much more exciting to drive. So we can drive it onto a bit of a highway, go through the gear changes, boom, straight up, shift gear, and drive along, get a little bit of speed up, but not too much speed. It does it pretty effortlessly. It's not the fastest car in the world, it's not designed to be, it's not going to be. It's a Hyundai I30, it's not a supercar, it's not a sports car, it's a hatchback from Korea. But it's a great little hatchback. It handles well, it pulls well, it's pretty economical if you want to drive it in eco. My average MPG right now is 41.4. It might not be the greatest in the world, but it's perfectly acceptable, perfectly adequate.
The car I drove is the i30 Premium SE, which costs a little under 24,000. You can enter the world of the i30 for a little over 17,000. It is a very good value car. The i30's main rivals include the Focus, the Golf, the BMW 1 Series, the Mercedes A-Class. Those are a few that are in that particular segment. It's miles better in terms of tech, but obviously some of the more premium vehicles do come at a more premium price.
So that completes my review of the Hyundai i30. If you like that content, please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. It helps me a lot and it means a great deal to me. And thank you very much, and until next time, goodbye.